dealt some drugs, stole some cash. There is a line on your income tax form to declare it. Hello, good people. This is your guy, Mr. Educator, Mr. Communicator, Mr. Free Thinker, coming back at you live once again from the Lone Star State with another edition of the Meter Mike Speaks. And yes, good people, I do believe this is my second or third episode regarding the IRS. Now, some people are calling this Joe Biden's IRS. I would say Sleepy Joe Biden's IRS. That's funny. Well, that may prove to be true. From having banks reporting $600 or more in your bank account to the IRS. From my last video regarding the IRS will now use facial recognition for you to be able to access your tax account, to now income from illegal activities will have to be reported. Now, here are some of the things you will have to report. For those of you who are on the other side of morality, as I should say. Now let's get to it. Bribes. If you receive a bribe, included in your income. Wait for it. Illegal activities. Income from illegal activities such as money from dealing illegal drugs must be included in your income on Form 1040, line 21, or on Schedule C or Schedule CEZ, Form 1040, if from your self-employment activity. Stolen property. If you steal property, you must report its fair market value in your income in the year you steal it, unless in the same year you return it to its rightful owner. Wait for it. Because only idiots would do that. I mean, I understand what they're trying to do, but okay, let's continue. As you can see, Publication 17 is very helpful to a variety of villains and dishonest folk. Dishonest folk. Someone old must have wrote that. Anyway, I'm just saying, well, from a past generation. There is some interesting case law on the subject. The 16th Amendment, which allows Congress to levy an income tax, comes into conflict with the 5th Amendment, which includes a right against self-incrimination. Exactly. You have the right not to tell on yourself. It's right there on the official IRS tax instructions. Income from illegal activities such as money from dealing illegal drugs. Wait a minute. Money from dealing illegal drugs. So you can deal drugs as long as they're legal. Must be. So that must be the pharmacy, who are, I guess, will be classified as legal drug dealers. Just saying, must be included in your income on Form 1040, line 21, or as I stated earlier, on Schedule C or Schedule CEZ, Form 1040, if from your self-employment activity, unquote. Now, not surprisingly, tax experts say few criminals declare their loot. They use loot? Who wrote this article? Just bear with me, good people. But some do, even when they've either been caught during that tax year or they think they're about to be caught, says Stephen Moskowitz, a San Francisco tax attorney at Moskowitz LLP, who has helped several clients document their illegal gains. Their goal, according to Mr. Moskowitz, is to avoid getting charged twice, once for their initial crime and again for evading the taxes on their windfall. After all, it was tax charges that ultimately put away Al Capone. It was. Now, many of today's criminals who choose to declare their illegal income are facing embezzlement charges, according to Moskowitz. Well, I'm saying that's sure is not a good way to motivate people to report it, because if I'm going to jail or prison, I'm not reporting anything. Just saying. Like Tom Hughes, a New England accountant who was caught multiple times stealing money from his clients. I guess Tom got into the accounting business to do just that, take money from his clients. He probably should have went to Wall Street. He probably wouldn't have got caught. But anyway, he goes on to say, I knew the money was taxable. You mean the money that you stole, Tom, from clients? There was no doubt about that, says Hughes. who now runs an anti-fraud consultancy called Hire a Thief. Okay. I had already been caught. He says he had already been caught, and I didn't want to face federal charges, unquote. He paid taxes on his illegal gains in 1999 and 2001, and again in 2004, after he stole from another client. After a 9-month prison stint, Hughes swears he's now reformed. So I guess he had one of those come to Jesus moments. Okay, he swears he's now reformed. Yeah. But of course you are, sir. So how many confessed crooks does the Internal Revenue Service deal with each year? The agency, get this, good people, isn't saying. They don't snitch on the people who tell on themselves. Now, a spokesman declined to discuss the issue, saying only that declaring illegal income is what the law requires, unquote. Got you. Documenting illegal income is tricky, according to Mr. Moskowitz. The IRS doesn't require any detail on the return beyond an approximation of how much you made. The hard part comes if you get audited. There's usually no paper trail. So IRS agents will typically ask for the names and contact information for people that may have been part of the illegal transaction, according to Mr. Moskowitz. So the IRS is looking for snitches, even though they don't snitch on the people who snitch on themselves. The agency will then try to verify your numbers with them. Let's say, for example, if you tell the IRS you made $1 million from stealing money or dealing drugs, does the agency tip off the cops? Now, first of all, why would you tell the IRS you made $1 million from? But there are people out there that are stupid. Now, legally, it can't unless a law enforcement agency gets a court order granting it access to a specific taxpayer's return. So let me get this straight. If I tell the IRS I made some illegal money, over $1 million, they can't report me to the cops. Wow. But that is interesting. I made this amount of money, and what are you going to do about it? So, but they're saying legally it can't unless a law enforcement agency gets a court order granting it access to a specific taxpayer's return. Now, the IRS isn't supposed to proactively alert other agencies about misdeeds unless terrorism is involved. And I'm pretty sure they'll probably spin it some way. In that case, it still needs a court order to disclose anything. But the IRS can initiate the legal process on its own. Oh, really now? Things that make you go, Now, these rules are spelled out in the IRS Guide to Section 6103, the law that covers tax return confidentiality. Like many legal statutes, it's complex and filled with loopholes. For example, the IRS might not be allowed to share the contents of actual tax returns on its own initiative, but it can divulge supplemental information obtained from outside sources, like witnesses, snitches, interviewed in an audit investigation, to apprise federal criminal law enforcement agencies of possible crimes, according to the agency's guide. So just to be clear, if you have pissed someone off to the highest level of festivity, who you did business with, I should say, or who knew of the transactions, they are acting as a witness and can testify against you, therefore causing you to be audited. Snitches. Okay. In practice, Moskowitz says he thinks information about illegal activities gets shared. So true, because people can't seem to keep their mouths shut. You know the old saying, good people, loose lips sink ships. Now, here's a good question. Do they report you to other agencies? Well, according to this article, absolutely. Other experts agree. Now, the IRS would most certainly immediately report it to law enforcement, says Joseph Henchman, Vice President of Legal and State Projects at the Tax Foundation, a think tank. The IRS spokesman declined to comment on the issue once again. Now, here's one upshot to declaring ill-gotten gains. If taxes are paid on it initially and restitution is part of any settlement or judgment, the restitution is then tax deductible, according to Mr. Moskowitz. Okay, so let me get this straight. if you get caught doing something and you have to pay restitution, if you file next year, the restitution you paid can be used as a tax deductible. Kind of like if you pay someone to do your taxes, you can also deduct what you paid them for that next following year. Okay. If you decide to disclose your illegal loot, make sure to do it with the assistance of a tax attorney, not an old accountant, or they use old there, They should have put illegal goods, because loot is an old term. I mean, it's a young generation may not understand what that means. I don't know. Okay, if there's anything we suspect is criminal, the first thing we do is tell people to get legal advice, says Gil Charney, principal tax researcher at H&R's Block Tax Institute. We don't have attorney-client privilege. If the IRS or any law enforcement agency contacts us, we have to provide that information. I'm pretty sure you do, sir. Now, my question is, good people, does this include, I would say prostitutes? I'm just saying. Does it? Does this same rule apply to prostitutes, aka call girls, aka escort services? I would imagine it does, or it would. I would hope so. Oh, what about strippers? Would it include that too? No, tips as such, I wonder. Do they have to report the tips? This is all cash transactions here. But anyway, just food for thought. Now, the conclusion of this matter is unsurprising. It would be absurd to exempt criminals from reporting income on their tax forms while asking it of honest workers. However, Fifth Amendment privilege allows one to report illegal income without revealing its precise source. Interesting. Well, good people, feel free to leave any comments in the comment section below or not. Until next time, this is your guy, Mr. Educator, Mr. Communicator, Mr. Free Thinker. Subscribe, share, and like to keep me rocking on the mic. Have a good night.
I'll understand you soon, it won't be long.
Keep on, keep running.